Welcome to this episode of The Inner Estate with your host, Bridget Stuart. Our guest today is Tim Street. Tim, thank you for being our guest today.
Bridget, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm really thrilled to have you here. You and I actually are long-term in our chosen industry, our chosen field of real estate. And Tim, you're an expert in really working both with agents and actually also with consumers on that whole concept of for sale by owner properties. And you even have a system called Foolproof FSBO, which stands for sale by owner. And I'm just thrilled because that, although that's our main topic that we're starting with, I know it's going to branch off into a lot of different conversations. So Tim, could you share with us, what are you passionate about in this field? Tell us more about this Foolproof for sale by owner.
So thank you. I actually started Foolproof FSBO with the idea that the default action for most home sellers today is to call a real estate agent. And I think that is a valid thing for a lot of folks. And, you know, one of the things that when I started looking into teaching homeowners and being a homeowner advocate, I learned that almost 90% of for sale by owner efforts fail. And it even gets worse than that is the ones that succeed usually sell for 11% less than their agent represented counterparts. So,
Right.
Bridget, as you can imagine, that's a very tall hill climb. And so a lot of people might wonder, well, why in the heck, Tim, would you ever get involved in that space? And it's because I've seen where the gap is. It's an education gap. I mean, nothing that I did. I was very good at selling homes. Sold homes for above asking almost every time we were off the market in the first weekend. I have a really, really deep background in sales, marketing, and advertising, consumer psychology. So I was very, very good at it. But I knew that was my background, and I could teach that. It's really not much different. I could get most agents performing at my level with a little bit of coaching. So I thought, well,
Right.
shucks, why don't we see if we can do that for homeowners? And that's what led me here today.
I think that's remarkable. And so and I believe you even have an ebook with
I
the
do.
system, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we'll have links because you have a few free takeaways as well. So we'll have if you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to, the links for that will be available, or you could just go to theinnerestate.com. So getting into this again, so you were an active real estate agent and you realized this gap that was occurring in the for sale by owner realm. Can you tell us a little bit more, like what made you shift? Because you were selling homes from a variety of sources with a variety of people and types of sellers. So can you tell us a little bit more about that transition and what sparked that passion for you to truly refine this niche and this process?
It was it was a realization of what a significantly flawed human being I am, if I'm being honest.
Like
I
all the
was
rest
at
of us.
welcome,
Welcome, Tim, to the club of significantly flawed humans.
I have zero reason to be this way. I mean, I'm, as we discussed previously, I'm so doggone proud of my family. I love my daughters, my wife. I mean, I have a life. You know, I started out as a kid in Detroit, joined the Marines out of high school because there was just no way I was going to survive in Detroit. I had no finances to go to college. I had, that was not going to happen for me.
Okay.
And the Marines is the best thing I ever did. It was my ticket out of there. But along the way, I lost good friends of mine. I went through a lot of hardship, and I saw people like lose the most precious thing we have, which is their lives. And they didn't want to. They didn't throw them away. They were clinging to them, and it was terrible. And so when I think about what I have today, this gift I have to be a dad, this gift I have to be a husband, and this gift I have to do good in the world, that is what matters. And to answer the question, yes, I almost turned down a really dark path. I was on the last listing appointment I ever took. There was an agent who came in before me, very nice, just an older couple. They wanted to believe kind of everything that was said to them. Their house was maybe worth $400,000. Guy comes in before me, says, "I'll get it sold to you for $500,000 because I have a lot of Instagram followers. I know how to do drone photos." You know this whole thing, Bridget. And these poor folks,
please.
they bought it.
Awful.
And so here's where it gets bad. On my way home, I'm driving home, and I'm kind of ticked off. I don't like to lose. And I said, well, look, if all I have to do to take to the next level in this space is to be as slimy as that guy, I could do that. I can lie to people. I can anybody better than anybody else.
Right.
And I became physically ill when I realized what I was saying to myself. What kind of deal with the devil I was trying to sign right there. And I
Right.
thought about like my friends, like looking down at me, like, are they really going to greet me when I see them again with pride in their eyes, or are they going to be
Right.
disappointed in the kind of life I lived? So I stopped. I said, listen, I cannot be trusted with this kind of power. I know what I am. I threw the ring in the volcano like in Lord of the Rings, and I said, I'm done. I said, I'm never going to put myself in a position where I can monetize off of somebody else's ignorance. And so now I do the exact opposite, and I just give everything away. I took my entire systems, talk every week. I put them on YouTube and all my social. I just give my systems away, and I just want people to be able to
That's
do
awesome.
well. Yeah.
So, you know what's funny? On a side note, we both had a movie reference pop in our mind immediately. So you had Lord of the Rings, which I'm a huge LOTR fan, books and movies. But the movie that popped in my mind is Jafar from Aladdin when he has the power. So the minute you said like I couldn't be trusted with that
In an
kind of power,
itty
that
bitty
was
bitty
the image in
package.
my mind. Yeah. So it's funny how movies flood our mind, the
For
imagery and
sure.
the
For
idea.
sure.
I will say I'm a bigger LOTR fan than Aladdin, although I like both. Okay, so now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So that insight, how keenly you must have felt that to make that level of a change. And I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to say that you might have been a little nervous when you did it. Were you scared? Were there fears around letting go of the successful career and taking this different, path? And how did you
Um,
navigate that? How did you lead yourself through that change?
my wife and I were a team, and she's amazing. She's one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. And so that was my biggest regret was I would no longer be able to help her. And I didn't want her to believe it was because I didn't enjoy working with her, nothing could be further from the truth. And I also didn't want her feeling like I was abandoning her, which in effect I was. I mean, it was a really crappy thing to admit to myself, like, wow, you're such a bad guy that you can't even, put this aside and do your damn job the right way. But the truth, it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It was the fact that I was even being pulled in that direction. Like
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
old enough. Yeah. I'm old enough nowadays to know, like, I don't put myself in tempting situations ever for anything. And that is what keeps you on the straight and narrow. So the fact that I even started feeling that pull, sure, I could have resisted it the next time and the next time and the next time. But what about the 1,000th time? What about the 10th? At what point are you saying I'm okay gambling my soul and my future? Like, my girls look up to me. My kids look up to me. I try to be a guy that they should look up to. Why would I start living a life counter to that? So yeah, that was like, there was a little bit of a nervousness there, but it was the right thing to do. And because I invested in real estate previously, I was a real estate investor, which is why I got my license.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to kind of bridge the financial gap
Okay,
to
good.
this day. Yeah. So that helped a lot.
So that minimized some of the fear around doing it.
Yes.
When you did stop, when you made the career change, because we talk about a lot of career changes, not always just involving real estate on this podcast. When you made that decision to dramatically change your career path, how quickly did it happen? Because I want to just share this.
Yeah.
There's people that are listening to us right now, and they want to change. And I'll simplify it to say they don't know the first step to take or how to do it. So what did you do?
So it took a couple of months actually when I sit and think about it. I did need some. I was actually kind of lost, and it wasn't like it wasn't like I was immediately inspired to become a homeowners advocate. I just knew that what I was doing right then, right there was probably going to lead to ruin. It was going to lead to a bad path. So I knew I couldn't do that. And I did but one night it was like divinely inspired. It was in early June of this last year. I swear I'm an old man. I go to bed every night by 9. I don't drink anymore. I don't party. Like, I'm so boring. And so like but I'll never forget like one night, and I have these every once in a while where I will just be insane, like getting these amazing ideas, and it hit me. I was like, I'm going to do this. And so I got on with my best friend, AKA ChatGPT, and ChatGPT and I started brainstorming this idea of what would it look like if I just took and put all my powers that I've used for generating revenue and put it toward, sort of like a philanthropy kind of a thing. And I said, which I'm not doing, by the way, I'm not by any means trying to get accolades or anything. I absolutely make money on this. I mean, people pay me for coaching. So as much as I like to tell everybody, I'm Mother Teresa out there living off the goodwill of everybody else, I am not that way. But what I will say now is I feel like the value equation is a little bit better. People can join my coaching class and pay me $300 to maybe save 30,000. That to me, I feel pretty darn good about, and so do they.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's pretty exciting. And
Yeah.
so it took a couple of months with being a husband and wife real estate team. How long had you and your wife been selling in that partnership?
So it had not been a long time. I've been in the industry since 2014.
Okay.
I actually got licensed in 2018.
Okay.
Liz got her license back in 2022. It wasn't a super long time. The thing that was nice though is we had a great system. Like I would go out, I would make all the phone calls. We'd go on listing appointments together. They would like what I said and they liked how she looked. So, we did, they didn't want to look at me, but it was nice to have my beautiful wife there with me. And then, she was great. It was like a hunter-gatherer thing. I would go out, hunt it, kill it, and throw it over the fence, and she'd clean it and administer it. And we were great together. And it was a lot of fun, but she totally respects and understands what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And I think she actually kind of appreciates that. And it's also cool too, to see how amazingly she's flourished, because it turns out I was very replaceable. It's very easy to hire an ISA to make phone calls for you. It's very easy to hire video editors and Google Ads people to advertise for you. So she just goes and knocks them dead without me. She's amazing.
So she's still in the industry.
Yes.
And is she a solo agent with staff?
She's a solo, yes, exactly. Solo agent with staff. Yep.
And she didn't have that. She didn't experience the same pull that you did of seeing that it was possible for her. So she just didn't have that. And that's the reality of life.
She happens to be a good person.
Many things. What?
She actually happens to be a good person. Unlike me.
Goodness.
So
You're funny.
No,
I am sure that she does respect that. What the decision you made in you and I sitting here now, it's easy for us to talk about it and make it look like, oh, it was easy. Look, everything worked out. You made a big decision. When you become a real estate agent, you go through training, education. You learn things about protecting yourselves, your broker, the clients, the co-op, it's very involved. There's expenses involved, ground checks, and then you're paying for everything out of pocket. So this is it's not impossible to walk away, but it's not like an easy, I think I'll quit today. Most people that are agents that are selling homes, they don't just, make a light decision. So you made a big decision. And I am, although I've never met her, I'm sure that she knows that that's part of the man that you are. And she married you as a man. She didn't marry you as a realtor.
Right. True. Yeah.
So great, there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for you all that's worked out well.
Thank you.
That she's thriving.
She is.
So,
she really is. And I think it also helps that she's so good. So it's always been very easy for me to be empathetic to people. I could always put myself in someone else's shoes very easy, which made me very good at sales. I mean, when I was running startups, I didn't have a day of college in my life, and we're walking into rooms that me and my friends, we have no business competing in. And sometimes we would win. We're competing against Fortune 25 companies and we're winning. And it's because I was always very, very good at sales. One of the very few things I was good at. And I understood from a very early age that sales was never convincing anybody. It was literally walking a mile in their shoes and thinking like they do and honestly assessing, do we have a solution for them? And if we do, well, doggone it, we better do everything we can out of love for that person to make sure that they pick the right choice. And that right choice is us this time.
Excellent.
Which also made me very dangerous if my powers were ever to be used for bad, because I could convince anybody of almost anything and say, oh yeah, you definitely should use me. And because here's why, and lead them down this primrose path. And, Liz is thankfully doesn't have the exact level of, I would say, salesmanship that I have, but she has a very, very strong moral compass. And, she's just such a better person when it comes to that kind of stuff. She's better at putting herself in difficult situations and always choosing the right thing. I respect her a lot for that.
That's awesome. And you have daughters. So how
4.
old are they?
Yeah, so we've got 4. So I got to stop calling them my little girls. They're always going to be my little girls, but my oldest little girl is in college. So I got to stop saying that.
Young lady.
19, 15, 11, and 9. So
that's awesome.
Quite the spread. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. And
you're
living, think about, and there's no way for us to know, but you knew in your soul, had you stayed in that it was not going to bring out the best in you as a father, a husband, and a man, right?
No.
So you made that decision, and what a blessing that's been for your family. So let's talk for a minute about one other aspect of making this career change and having your own system and your own company. You are an entrepreneur and you are creative because you've created this system. How did you lead yourself? How did you get yourself into the required action to make this real? What do you do to get yourself? How do you lead yourself?
So I don't have a choice. I have always, since being a little kid, I've always had this thing where if you told me I couldn't do something, I would just, and that could be bad things. That could be don't touch the red hot stove, Timmy. And then Timmy, like an idiot, goes and touches the red hot stove. Or it could be good things. Hey, Tim, you're never going to, you're never going to make it in football. And then you go out and just crush everybody in football. So I often found myself living in this weird world where, I guess I hate to say I had a chip on my shoulder, but I always felt like I had something to prove, or maybe I just wanted to live up to the expectations of my parents. I think are the greatest people walk the earth. I love my mom and my dad, and I've just always wanted them to be able to tell their friends about, their son without having to say, oh yeah, he's still around sleeping on our couch. I want them to say, well, yeah, this guy's doing great things. He just took over Argentina. Look at him go, or something like that. So, no offense to the Argentinians in the office audience. I love the beef. Keep it coming. Yeah. So, but like, it's interesting. I've never had the ability to just be okay, with things, which is kind of tragic. Like I'm never satisfied. And I don't know if that's, I don't know where to draw that line. Is it ever okay to say, hey, and I think I've kind of met that point, because if I was at that point where it was still a compulsion, I think I would have ignored that voice in my head and I would have went full steam ahead and done whatever it took to succeed as an agent stacking commission checks. And I think so I've kind of found this weird blend of I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Like I'm always going to strive for more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm very content.
I mean, that's a space where growth is possible. I think a bigger risk is feeling so complacent and that everything is just fine that I'm sure you and I have friends or people we know that they become so complacent that they just wallow in comfort and they feel as if they're winning, but they're actually losing so slowly they don't see it or feel it until it kicks them in the butt. And then they're dramatically uncomfortable. Yeah. So, what you just described, I think that's a great sweet spot to be in.
It's wild. Yeah.
You project the same, I'm going to use the word expectation, even though that isn't quite right, onto others? So do you project that same never good
huge
enough
flaw of mine? Yeah, we're just going to talk about all my flaws today. Right? We're just. In fact, I was like, I need somebody here to like start writing these down on a chalkboard. We need like the because yes, giant, and that's one thing that drives people nuts around it, is like it's so easy for me to just work a problem. It's just so easy to dive headfirst. Like I work easily 16 hours a day. And I don't consider it work, but I'm constantly creating. I'm constantly ideating. I'm constantly trying to optimize everything I do. My day starts at 4 a.m. every day and it ends usually around 9. Like this is just what I am. And so when I work with other people and I sometimes unfairly put those, I know that's not normal. People don't do that. And I don't know, when I was younger, I think a lot of that was attenuated through my use of like alcohol and drugs, and I was big into partying and all kinds of stuff. And I had like, it's crazy to me to this day to think like I haven't had a drink in like over almost 3 years on, and it wasn't court ordered, by the way.
Well,
but
that's
like
good to
I
hear.
just, but I didn't realize what a benefit it was to drink, which is it benefited me in the sense of I could walk into any room, have no fear, talk to anybody. I was just fearless. And it was such a hindrance because it allowed me to be okay with being an idiot. Like I was fine being a fool and like saying things you should never say and doing things that I regretted. And so like, it was only after like years of not drinking, where I kind of realized, like, my gosh, what could I have accomplished in this life without that? And the reason I bring that up is you talk about people being okay just in mediocrity. And I think that's, like, to me, the biggest problem with drugs and alcohol, for me anyway. It made me okay with being bored. So instead of trying to change my situation, instead of trying to succeed out of it, I was just like, I'll watch a cartoon. This is cool, you know? And I think that was one of so I totally understand where those people are at. And my heart kind of breaks for them, and my heart breaks for my former self, because I'm like, man, what I could have done. It's interesting.
Have you gone through the difficult task of forgiving your former self?
I don't know. I think so. And I don't know if there's a good answer for that, because I've taken a lot of stock in my life. And listen, what does it say? Comparison is the thief of joy. Like, I try not to compare myself to other people, both in success and in failure. Like, I try not to say, I try to take the outlook of, there but the grace of God go I. So when I see somebody fall on hard times, I'm not better than that guy. I'm not worse than him. I'm one of him. And it's just different circumstances. Sure, do we have a small modicum of control as to how our life goes? Absolutely. Yeah, we could try not to make bad choices. But every once in a while, things just happen. And you just have to realize not everything is in your control. And it matters more, okay, what do you do after you get knocked down than avoiding getting knocked down? Like, you can avoid getting knocked down altogether. You could live life in a padded cell or in a prison and,
Right. Or not really touch other people's lives, or a lot of So the failing forward is a phrase for a reason, right? We take the chances, we take the risks, we get out there. And
what does that mean when you forgive yourself? I'm sorry. What does that mean?
Yeah. No, go ahead. Like, I feel forgiving yourself, it's a key component that allows you to be more present in the future. And in my conversation with you, I feel like you are pretty present in today. Like, I feel like you feel present. So whatever you've done in these 3 years, how did you do that? So many people would like to have a breakthrough there. Was that a cold turkey approach? Did you have support? Did you solo? How did you do it?
I wish I could. I could tell you one thing. It wasn't willpower. Like, I have no willpower. If there's a pan of brownies on the counter, I'm grabbing one every time I walk past it, even though I know I shouldn't. I don't have the kind of willpower like that, because I'm not dumb enough to believe that drinking was a health food. I knew it wasn't, like, healthy for me. And I know that every time I had regretted doing or saying something in my life, it was almost always under the influence.
Gotcha.
That's just how it was. And I had tried many times, every January for the past 15 years at this CrossFit gym I go to every day. We do a dry January, or it was a clean January or something, like it's no processed food, Whole 30.
Right, Whole 30, yes, Whole 30.
Yeah. And I the worst part, I could give up chocolate, I could give up candy, but not drinking beer for 30 days was like torture to me. I hated it. And it was so funny, like, how, and just to paint a better picture, it wasn't to the point where, like, I needed, like, a fifth of vodka in my desk drawer to start my day, where I'm like handshake. It wasn't that bad, but I was definitely dependent on it. Like, I needed it as a social crutch. I needed it, and it became part of the routine where I wouldn't even want to drink a beer. It's just, we're cooking dinner, I'm drinking a beer.
Yeah.
And
almost
that's
like a second nature.
Yes. And I can't take any credit. Like, I kept praying on it and just begging, like, God, please take this out of me. Take this, whatever this is, take it away from me. And it took years, but it finally happened. And I can only call it a God thing, because nothing else makes sense. I didn't change anything in my life. I didn't read a new book. I didn't, I don't know. I think I just finally had an answered prayer, maybe. And I told Liz on the way I was walking home from the gym, I said, I think I'm done drinking. She's like, yeah, okay, I heard that before. And I said, no, I think I am. And it was the weirdest thing. It was, honestly, it was like it was just plucked out of me. Yeah. And I haven't had a desire. So it's crazy.
That's amazing. What a gift. I mean, that is fantastic. And I'm glad to hear that you're seeing the differences in yourself and how you're able to be and what you do. So I think that's great.
I thought I would lose a lot of weight. I didn't. I thought I would sleep better. I don't. I thought, all these things I was thinking, like, no, none of that's happened. So, like, now I find myself doing silly things. Like, I'll drink like I'll drink a Heineken Zero, like a fake beer. So I still get, like, all of the calories and the bad taste, but none of the part that make you feel good. So, I do some really weird, like, stuff now. I'm not sure it's
You might have to join us in the carnivore realm. So in carnivore, there's not a liquor yet that's animal based. So it's pretty hard. to, to do. There you go. That can be something that you do in 2027. This is fascinating. I want to line up time frames. I'm a chronological date oriented girl. When did the stopping drinking gift, the freedom from that pull, did that occur around the same time as changing the career? Like, what's the timeline of those things?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's not quite, it didn't line up. But I do know one thing is none of this would be possible today if I still drank. And I was thinking of that. It's funny you say that, Bridget, because I was actually thinking about that probably about, it was over the holidays. Just a feeling came over me. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I was at my computer, happy as heck, just thrilled to be doing what I'm doing and thinking, could you imagine doing this hungover right now? Like, could you? I wouldn't be. I would be in bed.
Right.
Like the fact that I can start my day clear-headed, happy, not regretting anything I did or said last night. Well, for the most part, I'm still a man, so I'm still an idiot, and I still say things to my wife I probably shouldn't. And that's the worst part is when you stop drinking, you only have to realize that you're just still an idiot. Like you're like, before it would be like, oh yeah, I know, I had like 5 dirty martinis. I'm sorry. Now I'm just like, I'm stupid. That's all there is to it. It's like the worst.
I know where that came from. It was just a joke that didn't land, and it's all me. It's 100% organically me. Sorry.
It's 100% me. It's not 100 proof. It's Tim proof, man. It was right
That's
here.
right. Tim proof.
Golly.
Well, so you believe it is making that choice for yourself has enhanced your career now and your career
100%.
path and what you're doing with touching people. So would you be able to share with us maybe almost like a case study of someone who reached out to you? It could be an agent or a consumer. Who is someone where you know that by connecting with you, you really impacted their life?
Gosh, one of my favorite things to talk about is I have a good friend of mine out in San Diego, and they were talking about actually getting into real estate as a career. And we just had, he was a friend, a brother Marine of mine. So the nice thing about Marines is I can not talk to him for 7 years. And then we pick up the phone and literally we haven't missed a beat. And I love that.
That's right. It's like you talked yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not mad at me that I haven't talked to him for 7 years.
Right.
I'm not mad at him. Like that's just how we know how our lives go. And, but what's beautiful is we have that foundation. And so he's actually found he was doing I shouldn't say it's a terrible job, but it was a very difficult job. He was in concrete and just, carrying 80-pound bags of concrete up and down ladders. And he's my age. I'm like, buddy, you can't be doing that anymore. You're going to break a hip. But he just had nothing else. Anyway, long story short, I got him turned on to a coaching program that I took, and it really like leveled my game up. He's great today. He's incredible. The guy's just, he's living a life that, 24 months ago, he would never have imagined.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And it's just, all it is he's just a decent guy. He knows what hard work is. See, a lot of people I've found, and this is one of the big flaws that I've found with real estate agents that I've dealt with, is a lot of us, we feel like, well, this isn't going to be hard work. And nothing can be further from the truth. I mean, sure. Is it carrying 80-pound bags of concrete up ladders? No, but it's a different kind of hard. It's grueling. It's mentally grueling. It will wrench your stomach. Like you'll be in the middle of a beautiful dinner and all of a sudden you'll get one phone call and you don't want to eat anymore. It's that kind of stress. And so I have to prepare people for that. And so, but he was fine with it. He's like, yeah, no problem. I got it. I don't have to carry concrete in January. Yeah, no, I'm good. Let's do this.
That sounds good. Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I'd love to connect with him. I have a vast network of agents all across the country and I would love to meet him.
For sure.
So that's pretty remarkable. And you were able to, even though you had chosen that it was not going to be right for you, he must have had more of what I'll call the Liz element. And this was a great fit for him. And so by working with you, he was able to discover that. And now, like you said, has changed his life in 24 months.
Yeah. And one thing I've realized, like people are people. And in every industry, there's a bottom 10%. That could be the Marine Corps. It could be your local police department. It can be real estate agents. It could be Congress. Well, actually, all of Congress is the bottom 10%, but I'm not going to go there. But anyway, the point is like, what I was very guilty of before I got my license is I made my judgment of real estate agents based off the people I had only worked with, which very likely were like the bottom 10% because they were the loudest ones. And I always feel like the loudest ones are always like at the bottom of the barrel. They're the one,
Very
like,
often.
right? So I would find myself, just be like, oh, I'm not paying money for somebody to open up a door and put a house on the internet. Like, cause in
Yeah.
my inexperienced mind, I was ignorant to the reality of what really goes on behind the scene. Boy, what an education I got. My first listing
Yes.
where I'm like, holy smokes, there's a lot going on here. And I felt actually really honored. Like at no point did I ever feel like I was taking advantage of people for getting the commission checks I did. I worked my butts off for them. I gave them outcomes better than anybody else could have got them. I was proud to earn that money. I mean, because we freaking earned that money.
Yes.
And so, yes, some homes were easier to sell than others. Some I had to go through hell and back to get done. But on balance, I do know for a fact that I was able to look that person in the face on closing day and be completely proud of the work I did for them and know that they were happy that they worked with me. And that's kind of all that mattered at the end of it. And that's what I tell anybody getting into real estate. Just make sure people are happy they know you. Don't plant a sign in your yard and then go into the witness protection program.
I know.
Which so many of them do.
Or even worse. Okay, you talk to them more than once a day for weeks, then it closes and you disappear in a green smoke like alphabet. You're, like a poof, gone. And then wonder why people say, I think that agent's only in it for the money. Oh, what gave them that idea? They have no right to be insulted. It's like, so similar stat that you brought up. It is shocking how few agents actually engage with their past clients.
Well, yeah.
And really treat them. These people just invested often their largest investment with your guidance and relationship. They trusted you. They were vulnerable. Moving is one of the most stressful things that we do in life.
Yes.
Yep. And then the agent just promptly, not all of them, but unfortunately more than half, if you look at the data, after the closing, they're like, well, I don't want to impose on you. Bye. Boo. It's like, sayonara, sweetheart. It's if I could change one thing. So I've been in the industry, it was 27 years in November.
Hey, congratulations.
And if there's one thing I could change, I'd start with that one. I wish agents would not even think for a second that someone that was happy to talk to them every day for weeks or months, and that put all that trust in them, they still want to hear from you. They're still homeowners.
What have you found is your best?
They still need help,
How do you like to keep in touch with people, Bridget? Like what have you found is like your favorite way to just keep in touch with folks?
My favorite way is phone calls. Maybe you call it Gen X. I don't know, but I do love phone calls. I loathe voicemail. So unless if you care, I'll share. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm calling someone who's upper half a boomer or silent generation, I'll leave a voicemail. If I think they're like even mid-boomer down, I usually don't. And I will, let it ring 5 times. They don't answer, hang up, and then I'll just send a quick text.
Yes.
But that is, for me, I enjoy voice-to-voice. I enjoy face-to-face. So, that's harder to do on scale. And it's funny because you might, I can imagine right now if people are still listening to us and I said that, they'll be like, no one answers the phone. No one wants to talk about it. Younger people don't have phone. Yeah, they do.
That's not true.
You know what? If it's a good time, they answer. If they're in the middle of changing a diaper, they're like, oh, Bridget called. I'll call her back later. And maybe they forget and they don't care. Like, I think people just make too much of it than they need to.
They have your number. I can't, dude, all the business we got from when I first started, I didn't have a network to sell. I cold called. And I called expireds and I called canceleds. And you're telling me people answer their phone.
People answer the phone.
Doing that. I didn't go to college, but I bet you I've spent 6 figures in coaching. In fact, I have. I've done the math and it's ridiculous how much money I've spent on that. And I don't regret any of it. It's just, it's funny how I sit there, I pat myself on the back. Oh, I saved a lot of money not going to college. And there I am. But anyway, one of the cool tips.
It was definitely an investment in yourself.
For sure.
Look at the man you are now. And it's not
do not regret it.
Yeah.
One of the this is for the agents in the audience who are listening. I got a tip from one of my coaches that I just absolutely loved, but it didn't work for me as well as it worked for him because I live in a southern climate. He was up in Michigan. And so what he would do is he would contract with a landscape company up in Michigan, you have to like blow out all your underground irrigation pipes from all the water. So, because if they freeze, they
That's right.
explode. And then,
You're going to have, yes.
so it's like a normal thing in Michigan. In the fall, you get your sprinklers blown out. And in the spring, you get them reprimed. And
Yes.
so he would contract and he would work out a deal where with a local maintenance company where they would go out and blow out these people's sprinklers for free. And
Wow.
they would do a quick check around the house, and they almost always found something else. Hey, while we're here, we could pressure wash your driveway. Hey, while we're here, we could wash your windows, whatever. But this guy was so smart. He would call all of his old clients and say, hey, winter's coming up. Did you have your sprinklers? Would you mind if I sent over a guy to do it for free?
Yeah.
That guy never,
Loved it.
ever had to call for another deal again. People threw themselves at him. My daughter's listed in her house. My cousin's listed. It was all in from what? From just giving away, giving things away, giving back. So let's just pretend this isn't altruism. Let's just pretend you're still being selfish in chasing the dollar here. What a better way to chase a dollar. That guy proved
That's
you could do both ways.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the cool thing with that too, and I'm assuming that the guy did this, obviously you can offer that to your past clients. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, be meaningful. That's part of owning a house in your market. And it shows them that you're aware of like, hey, here's something homeowners face. I want to continue to be a part of it. Let me help. But you could also do that for your friends and your family. And you could expand it out, right? And then you're also, you're building a relationship with this local service provider. Yeah, it's a rising tide that lifts all the boats. So I love hearing ideas like that. Might shock you. I don't know. I'm going to try. I hired my first real estate coach in February 1999.
Nice.
And I
That's
have
awesome.
had a coach or coaches since. So
do you have any favorites you want to talk about?
wow. Well, I consider it a wild privilege that I had Matthew Ferry as one of my coaches for several years. When I signed up for my first coach, I was in Crystal City, Virginia, and I was at a week-long event hosted by the Mike Ferry organization, and the two instructors were Matthew Ferry and Tom Ferry. How lucky was I?
That's amazing.
Brand new. I had my license for 2 months, and I'm sitting in this room in Crystal City, Virginia, and they just spoke my language, and I was like, this is where I need to be. So that Matthew was huge. Tony DeCello, who was never my direct coach, but he was one of my mentors when I became a coach, he gave me an affirmation that I believe has fundamentally changed my existence on a day-to-day basis.
Whoa.
He taught me, and it's so simple. I move through the day with ease and elegance. Tony taught me that, I think it was 2004. And I have said that at least once a day. Frankly, it's more than that since.
Wow.
And again, like you and I were talking about, when you have a coach, it ripples into your regular life. And I would say that possibly has guided me through storms I've faced, failures I've faced, disappointment, loss, grief, failed marriage yes, there's an S on there. I own it,
So you're like me. You're a slow learner is what they call us, because I've been married twice also. So
there you go. Okay. So, and I still incorporate that in every day. In fact, I have a book coming out this year, and I put that affirmation attributed to Tony in the
Bridget, that's so cool. I love that. I move through the day with grace and elegance.
Yeah. Do you have any affirmations or mantras or identity statements or?
I'm a big prayer guy.
Okay.
And I'm not even that good at that. I kind of just babble, a stream of consciousness, I hear these, it's funny too, because I'll read these great books and there'll be just these beautiful things in there. I'm like, man, I hope I can remember that. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, a squirrel.
Yeah.
So I do need to chase one down. But it's so funny you said that, because when you said that, I was like, I need one of those. I'm going to go chase one down. I'm going to make it my mission tonight before I go to bed. I'm going to find my thing. That's really cool.
My other one, which came from Matthew, he trained me, and I was a stubborn mulehead about it. He probably has wrinkles on his forehead from doing this, but he trained me that my first thought when I wake up every day, which also ties in with my faith, but my first thought when I wake up is another day above ground. Let's go get it.
Bingo.
This is great. To be literally the first thought I have every day. And that takes training, but he trained me on how to do it. And I've been doing that now for over 20 years. And my baby sister, Erin, who's the fourth out of 4 girls in my family. She 5th kid total. She likes to tease me and say that it's probably one of the reasons why I'm single, because I wake up in the morning with she won't share a hotel room with me. Let's get up. It's another day, right? Which of course
You and me
is
both,
funny.
man. I'm the same way. And like, what a great way to start the day. Started with optimism.
Yeah. And gratitude.
Gratitude. Yeah. You get to,
Yeah.
we're one of the lucky few. A lot of people die every night. And how nice it is that we got chosen to stay behind for another day. Although I guess maybe
Yes.
the other side doesn't sound too bad either.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, let's enjoy and appreciate and be stewards of the gifts we've been given, right?
Amen.
While we're here.
Yep.
So, Tim, this has been such an interesting journey so far from what you've shared. And I am curious, what's next?
I am doing something I've always wanted to do is I'm also writing a book.
Great.
It's going through editing right now. It was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be because I find I'm my own harshest critic.
Yeah.
So people will say,
Again,
well,
we're
this is
in the
really
same
good.
club.
I'm like, are
Welcome.
you kidding me? This is crap. This is like, no, this is terrible. And they're like, no, this is good. This is good. I'm like, no, it's not. I've got to redo this. So yes, that's been a lot of fun. On a personal level, I think Liz and I are just trying to get all our girls off to school or whatever it is they want to do. I know Allie, my oldest, decided she wanted to be a mechanical engineer. So she's up at University of North Florida right now in Jacksonville. My daughter Olivia is MVP of her varsity swim team in high school, and she's only a sophomore. So she's got an amazing future in swimming ahead of her if she wants. She's also infatuated with aviation like I have been. Kate is just a beautiful little girl. She's our third oldest, and she's getting into volleyball this year. Our little Heidi, our baby, she now thinks she wants to go into drama, which, hey, sounds awesome to me. Yeah. So that's really our focus now, is just seeing these girls off to start their future the right way, and who knows for us.
Well, I feel like you have brought so much to the table, so many things to choose from. You have shared with us about making those changes with yourself of stopping drinking and how your faith played a role in that. And you've started this new company and you're touching agents' lives and consumers' lives. So you're having an impact there with the Foolproof for Sale by Owner. And being a proud Marine veteran, I'm sure, and touching veterans' lives, I feel like I can understand how you would have a feeling of feeling somewhat satisfied yet still wanting more and keeping that spark alive of wanting to grow and better yourself, writing that book. It's really exciting. If anyone is still listening to us right now, and they're feeling stuck, either in one of the areas where you experienced a stuck moment, or even if it's a different moment, they're feeling as if they cannot figure out the way out of where they are. What's something you would recommend just as a first step to allowing change to come in?
Step away from the problem. I find a lot of times if I fixate on an issue, all I can think about is this issue. There's a guy who used to race motorcycles, and he would talk about one of the best ways to avoid hitting a bad corner is not to even know that. Just don't fixate on the corner, because everybody else was like getting into this bad corner and hitting it the wrong way because they were staring at it. They were fixating at it. Stare through it, stare past it. So if you're just stuck and you're hammering your head against it over and over and over again, that's where a lot of perspective can come in. And the best way to get perspective is to change your elevation or your orientation to where you are. If we're in the middle of the woods and we're lost, climbing a high tree sometimes lets you see a landmark. So I'm a big perspective guy. If I'm having a hard time dealing with something, I recognize how powerful the subconscious mind is. I recognize the fact that there's a lot of our brain that we don't even know is operating as it does. Right behind the scenes. And so sometimes answers come to people in dreams. Sometimes answers come to people when they're not even thinking about it. And it's happened to me. Like I will be facing a scenario. Yeah, writer's block, whatever it is. There's a great book by Stephen Pressfield where he talks about the Muse. And Stephen Pressfield is the guy, they adapted his story and made that movie 300 about the gladiators and all that. But there's like a historical book, called Gates of Fire at Thermopylae. And he wrote a book, and it was a wonderful book because he basically taught you the craft of creativity. And so if anybody's at a point where they're stuck, I love that book. And how silly of me, I can't remember. But if you look up Stephen Pressfield, the Muse, it might actually be called Stephen Pressfield, the Muse. Mm-hmm. It was about that, and it was a wonderful book, and I love to read books like that because it really helps you, number one, realize you're not alone in being stuck, And number two, it gives you some great ways to get around things.
So I think that's really good. So if you are feeling stuck, change your perspective and take your focus off of the curb or the obstacle or the issue and engage your mind elsewhere. And as you said, like that allows mental white space,
Mhm.
like where there's room for sometimes the answer or the idea to come back in.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
And
very powerful.
Bridget, I'll tell you, it's funny because they've talked about this in so many different studies where it's like the front door being locked, so you try the back door. Well, that's how your conscious and your subconscious mind work. They both have access to what's inside the home. It's just sometimes this way is locked, and you have to just give up on that front door and just walk away, and then your mind kicks into the back doors.
Right. Well, thank you so much. This has been such an engaging and thrilling conversation. I have found it inspiring myself, and thank you for sharing everything that you did. Of course,
The
if you
honor's
want to reach
mine.
out to Tim, again, wherever you're consuming this podcast, you'll be able to find all of his information in the description. And of course, reach out to the podcast if you need to. So thank you again for being our guest. And if you are listening to this episode of The Inner Estate, I hope you'll join us again in the next one.